Hi there, Pursuing Freedom friends. Thanks as always for being with us today. I am so excited because I have Doan back on the show. And if you guys have not listened to Long's first interview and episode on the Pursuing Freedom podcast, it is episode number 59. And you definitely want to listen to this interview because it's going to be relevant to where we are right now in late May of 2020 as we're recording this. But I would highly encourage you to check out his first interview with Pursuing Freedom because it's absolutely fascinating. He's an incredible inspiration. I just absolutely adore this person, and I'm so excited that he's taken the time to come back on the show. So, Long, I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your real estate journey, and then we'll kind of dive right into there.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Aaron. This is awesome. As you had stated before, from the episode 59, if people listen, I'm originally from Vietnam. I came to America at the age of 13 by myself as a boat person. This is relevant to who I am today, obviously, because I have a 50-50 survival rate. So I'm a flip of a coin of being here, talking to you and your audience about all the things we talk about. But yes, I started Realty Group in 2009. So my first 15 years prior to that, I was in the mortgage industry. I had my own mortgage brokerage as well. But the last 13 or so, almost 14 now, I was in the real estate side. I was an active broker when I first started out, made my transition from mortgage to real estate. And as you may remember, 2009, with a lot of the foreclosures and the market was getting tougher. So for me, I always see those as opportunities. So I got into real estate side and did a lot of bank loans. So I closed 1,000 transactions my first 4 years. I think I was number 5 in the state. People were like, who's this Long guy? Where did he come from?
That's crazy.
Right? 2014 is when I started to go to brokerage. And that's relevantly, coincidentally as well, is when I partnered up with my business partner now. His name is Mike Bernier. So he's been with me since 2011. And 2014, we became partners. And we had 8 agents at the time. Today, we're 515. In just a little over 5 years, we actually let go of over 200 agents. We brought in over 700 agents within 5 years. And the fastest growing real estate company in Minnesota. Very proud to be part of it.
Awesome. So, okay, first and foremost, I will never forget in your last interview when you talked about the difference of being the victim versus the victor. And I reached out to Long because I wanted him to come back on the show because he's an incredible leader. He is extremely passionate about the power of mindset and how that affects your results in life. And clearly, as somebody who survived the journey that he did to get to America, I think perseverance, resilience, and mindset are all ingrained in your personality. But I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how that victim versus victor mindset applies to the current real estate market.
Yeah, I mean, really anything in life, right? But especially recently for anyone who's in the real estate market, mortgage, title, insurance, you name it. We probably once in maybe 2-3 generations this COVID, right? So because of that, a lot of people because of the unknown, no one knows what's going to happen. So that's when people have fear. And most people have fear of the unknown because you don't know what's going to happen. There's no vaccine to it. We don't know what's going to happen. It's so new. We've never had it before. So that's really play with your mindset. And if anyone who knows about mindset, obviously how important that is our mindset is so important that it controls everything we do, say, or think. So, one thing that we have done, and I believe in the leadership role especially, is that everyone can lead when things are nice and easy, right? Things are going good. But it's the tough time is when you see the leaders rise up, the good leaders. And this is the time where the mindset is so important because you can only control what you can't control. So if you're afraid and you're fearful of something, it's normal. That's not wrong to be afraid of things. It's what you do that separate you from the other. So we really take a look at the mindset piece and make sure that everyone realizes that there's a lot of things we can't control. There's a lot of things that are unknown, but control the thing that you can control and just work off of that. And our agents here with us have had great success because of that. And we spend a lot of time helping them through that.
So I love that. I want to ask you specifically, what is it that you teach folks in the way of actively managing your mindset? I was talking with someone earlier about how most days, being the person I am, I roll over in the morning and I'm anxious to get to what I need to do. I automatically default to what what I have to do today. And in order to control my mindset, I have to take the time to pause, do my morning routine, and focus on who I want to be first, because I can't do or achieve anything without first focusing on who I'm going to be as a human being and how I'm going to show up in the world. So, like, what kind of guidance do you give specifically to folks who've never done this kind of work, and how do you actively manage your mindset?
So here's the crazy thing, right? All of us, whatever line of work we are in, what people don't realize is that when you show up to work, you don't flip on the switch and you switch to the work mode. Okay, so whoever you are as a person, you should live that way because that's how you should be at work. So the biggest thing, the important thing is your routine, your habits, right? I get the opportunity, just like you, get to speak to, get to know a lot of successful people. And there seems to be a pattern of all successful people. First start with their mindset. We call it whatever your goal is, your dream, right? Because you can dream it, it can happen. You hear all the time. So first you start with the goal, the mindset. Most of us do, but many of us are just daydreaming. Like we want something. We wish we had something. What successful people have done is they then take the next step is put into action. Okay. So they then move to do certain things, to come up with a plan to make that dream come true. But then guess what? We're all going to fail over and over and over again. So you have to be determination is the next thing I seem to see successful people out there. Like they're determined. They're not going to give up. They're going to keep trying it. They'll make adjustment to it, but they'll keep trying it. And then the last thing I notice is consistency. Like keep doing it over and over and over again so that you can get to where you need to go. So what you talk about is a routine and a habit. So for me, mine is every night before I go to bed, I do a couple of things. Okay. The very first thing I do is, did I learn something new today? So there's 3 ways we learn. Okay. One is the easiest, by imitation. So if you see someone doing it, you just might as well imitate them, right? In high school, they call it cheating. Now it's called sharing in life, right? When something works, let's do it. If something, worked well, you see someone who's very successful, copy what they do, right? Why reinvent the wheel? The second way to learn is considered the hardest is by experience. You have to actually go through it. You have to learn it. Like for me, my life journey when I was younger, that's how I learned by experience, what I went through, right? And then the third, which is considered the most noble, is by reflection. Okay, let's reflect on what you learned, what you imitate, what you see out there. So for me, at the end of every night, I always go through my reflection. Did I learn something new today? If I did not, and I will admit, I hate reading. I'm not a very good reader. But if I did not, I will read 15 minutes every night. And most of the time, I don't haven't learned anything throughout the day. So I read. That's how I read. That's how I read books, many, many books because of my routine and the habit. And then I look at my next day. What's my next day look like so I can be prepared mentally for the next day? So what I've done is I have habit and routine. So with this COVID-19, a lot of things change on us. So because of that, we have to set different habits or adjust our habit. Okay, because I can't go to the office, I can't meet the people. What do I do instead? Okay, so you just make adjustment to it. But at the end of the day, it's all about the mindset because you said it. You can decide if you're a victim or a victor. You can be the victim because of COVID, your business went down, you can't do this, you can't do that. Or you can be the victim and go, because of COVID, a lot of people are not doing business. How can I adjust my business to help other people who are not getting the help right now?
Awesome. So one thing I want to ask you is I'm curious if you're seeing a difference in the ability to positively sustain, a good mindset. Are you seeing any difference between newer agents who were trying to get off the ground as this pandemic hit versus seasoned veterans who maybe were at the top of their game and they got hit? Like, are you seeing any difference between someone who's like, oh shoot, I was just getting going, or I was just feeling positive about getting my business going, and now this happened and now it's stopping me, or hey, I was at the top of my game, I can't believe this is happening and it's derailed me? Or do you feel like it's just kind of like a mix across the board with,
Yeah, I think it's the latter because we're in the people business, right? That's what we do. We work with people and we run a business. That's why it's called a people business. So because of that, this is the time where you want to be remembered for the day after, whenever that might be, because we're all going to get through this, who you are. So we would encourage our professionals to reach out to their database. I don't care if you're brand new or you've been doing it for 20 years. Because your job is to manage and build and grow your database and nurture it. So call their database and just check in with them. Don't call to sell any real estate, but they will call and say, "Hi, Aaron, how are you doing?" To check in, see you doing okay. And you have a real conversation with them. And people already said, "This sucks. I'm not afraid of it. Oh man, I'm scared to death. I'm not leaving the house." However it is, just do that and not sell real estate. But what we found out was after you do those conversations, also like, you know what? My cousin's thinking about selling her house, but she don't sure if she should or not. I'm going to have her call you, okay? And naturally, you will actually get business out of it. The other thing that we also share is that this is the time where in the people business, this is a difficult time. It's a weird time that most of us have never experienced, right? So it's a time where your EQ is even more important than your IQ. Be the emotional intelligence. Be empathetic when you reach out to people. People are scared, and they're okay to be scared. If you're not scared, don't, not make them feel like they shouldn't be scared. So we talk about not overcoming objection, but being empathetic with them and work with them and go with their comfort level. So it doesn't matter if you've been 20 years or very brand new. The point is, what is your daily routine and habit that you have put into place, and make the adjustment if you need to. Zillow and Realtor.com released numbers like 450% increase in connectivity. Everybody's home right now, right? They actually can't pick up the phone, and they actually can't wait, especially if they have kids, to have an adult conversation with somebody right now. So this is the time when you get to really nurture and build your relationship, and because of that, a lot of times you actually get busier than you were before.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I always am telling people that, when you pick up the phone, and I think this is during a pandemic or not, as soon as somebody has an agenda behind the phone call of I have to make these calls to get deals, so many people freeze up because they feel like it's too self-serving. They're making the call for themselves. And so there's no time like the present to realize that the goal isn't to get a deal. The goal is to find out what's going on with someone personally, to show up as a resource, to be of value. And there's no time, there's never been a time where people are more starved for human contact. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to just sit and chit chat on the phone with anybody who listen to my problems, right? So,
especially if you're genuine. You do call and care about. You have no agenda. You're not there to sell them.
Right, 100%.
That would be the easiest call, right? Most people are like, I don't want to make the call to sell something. Well, you're not. These are the best time to be calling people.
Yes. The reality is that when you think about the real estate transaction, for most people only happens every 3 to 5 years anyway. So as real estate professionals, we need to be more focused on the human being and the relationship than on the deal that's going to come as a result of it. And the thing is that people are never going to forget the act of kindness bestowed upon them during this time. I think we get in our heads about, well, if I call my database, they're going to think I'm being salesy during a really stressful time. It's not if the agenda isn't to get a deal. If the agenda is to actually find out how they're doing, they're going to feel your genuine love and care and compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. And COVID-19 is a great excuse for you to do that, because when this thing goes away, you should keep doing it. Every day you should be touching out the 10 to 50 to 20 people, because here's the thing, you said it, right? In our industry, it's not like repeat business a daily or weekly. It's 3 to 5 years or 7 years. But on an average, people know about 200 people. So they may not be ready to buy or sell right now, but if they like you and trust you, they will refer you to the people they know who are buying and selling. And if you're not on top of mind, you haven't reached out to them in at least a quarter or 2 months, they don't hear from you, guess what? They don't remember you. They'll just go through the next Zillow agent that's on the listing that they saw when they need something.
Yeah. And the interesting thing you just mentioned is that if you start doing it now, it will continue long beyond. And I've continued to say throughout this that if we're being forced to slow down and pause, it's a great time to evaluate how organized are you? How good are your systems? What are your habits? What are your routines? And how can you use this time to establish better routines that will carry you through and create the runway for liftoff, right? So let me ask you something, because not every agent that's listening has access to a mentor like you in their organization. I'm really impressed by, it's insane to me that you've attracted over 700 agents in 5 years. That to me is probably a testament to why you were successful as a real estate agent, how you attracted clients. And now as a business owner, you're attracting amazing people because of the way that you are and the way that you teach. Not everybody has access to that kind of mentorship. So, do you have any advice for people that are like, well, I know I need better routines, or I know I should be doing more, but I don't even know where to begin. Like any books that you've read that helped you formulate a good plan for success?
Yeah, things really changed nowadays for us, right? With the explosion of social media, internet, there's not a shortage of information. When you want something, you Google, you find it, right? But it's the challenge is to take the information and to put it into action. So go back to your question then is that we're the average of 5 people we hang around with. So find the 5 people that you know, either through social media, reach out to them, IM, Facebook, whatever, someone locally in your market, someone you know that would be, somebody you respect, and just ask them, hey, is it okay if I do a Zoom meeting with you, do a call, and then when things are back again, let's go have coffee or lunch. I'll tell you right now, most successful people love to help others and paying it forward. So you think that might be too busy for you? I had a call. Somebody reached out to me through LinkedIn. Okay. So he said, hey, I'm 18 years old, just got out of high school, and I've been seeing your stuff. I really want to know, are you too busy for me? Can I get 30 minutes with you? I said, yes. He was surprised. He's like, I thought you too busy. But successful people and people who have the abundance mentality versus scarcity, right? We're out there. You are concluded. So all people got to do is put into action. Reach out and ask. If you ask 10 people and 5 said no, you found 5. Why not? So nowadays, I don't think there's a shortage of that. There's also so many groups you can belong to, books you can read, all the other stuff, right? And so depends on what kind of industry you're in, what you like to do. The 7 levels communication is always my favorite one for a people business. I like that one. There's a ton of good books out there, but the key is at the end of the day, that's what I do, reflection, right? I just want to be better than my yesterday self, not be better than Aaron, be better than somebody else. Because guess what? Someone is always better than you, and you're always better than somebody. So that is the definition of average. The worst of the best and the best of the worst. You're always going to be disappointed. Okay. But if all you do is try to grow and have the growth mindset to be better than yourself, because here's what you're going to do. You're going to align yourself with 5 people that kind of where you want to be. 6 months, you might find different 5 people. Mm-hmm. Outgrow them. And growth mindset people like us, we go through that. A lot of times you have old friends or even family get together. You're like, you don't even know what to talk about anymore because you have grown and they have not. But that's something you have to keep in mind is that just reach out. And I guarantee you there's people out there that will say yes to you that you don't think.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. And it's interesting because we've had folks on the show that have been the rookie of the year in their marketplace. And when you ask them, how did you have such quick success in real estate? And almost 100% of the time, the answer includes, I found people in my company or in my marketplace that were ahead of me in the game or that had a business that I admired and that I wanted to emulate. And I simply followed them around like a puppy dog and begged them to just drop some tidbits of information on me, and whatever they told me, I did it. I implemented. And that's the key. It's like you can read a million books and do nothing about it, or you can read a book and implement.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So question for you, because I think it's really mind-blowing, to be honest, that you guys have attracted over 700 agents in 5 years. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I think that it translates to anyone who's listening who's either a business owner, a team leader, or, like I said already, is that I actually think it translates to how you attract clients as well, because it's attraction marketing over selling, I would suspect.
Absolutely. So I have a couple, I do these training all the time, right? In the people business, it's all about human capital. The more people the better you'll do. So I don't care if you're a solo agent trying to attract buyer, seller, or your team or brokerage is trying to grow a company. At the end of the day, you need to be clear on who you are. Most of us don't have a vision or mission statement. Like we're not really clear on who we are or where we want to go, right? That's probably the most important part is to know who you are. Then and only then you can go, who do you want to align yourself with? Whether that be your team member, your agent come join you, your buyer, your seller. So once you know those 2 things, the next thing left is to go find those people, right? So for me, that's step 3. I have a 10-step I go through. Step 1 is know who I am, my vision, my mission, where I want to go. Step 2 is to know who I want to be part of that journey with me to attract them. Step 3 now, where do I go find them? For me in my line of work, I got broker metrics, I got market view broker. I can go find them MLS. I can buy lists. So then I would target my audience. Once I find them, I would target them with the appropriate messages. Okay, whether that you're a solo agent trying to attract more buyers, sellers, then focus on your target audience and get the message out to them, however that is. And then the next one is try to get in front of them. In our industry, I don't care if you're trying to get a buyer, seller, or you're trying to get an agent. We're constantly interviewing for jobs, right? Especially a buyer consultation, a listing presentation. First of all, you want the opportunity, then you get in front of them, you interview for a job, and when you get the job, you work your hardest to be out of a job in 45 to 60 days when the deal closes, right? Go back, you do it over and over and over and over again. So if you're not getting really good at finding opportunity and then to do good at that interview, you may not get the opportunity to do a good job of buying and selling that home. So that's why this applies as well in the same process. But if you don't know who you are, you can be genuine of who you are, right? So once you know that, you attract people because they'll connect with you. They'll see that's who you are. So then you reach out to them, you get the meeting, you get the interview, you get the presentation, whatever, and then follow up. Okay, right after the meeting, it's a presentation, whatever. You always follow up to make sure, if they're not going to work with you, great, thank them. Find out what you could have done or why you missed out. Learn from it. Maybe they might even refer you. Hey, I'm not right for you. I don't want you to list my home, but I think you're right for my sister. So you have to play the long game. That's the key, right? And then after that, on my part of it is the onboarding, but on the agent part, maybe getting the paperwork done, all this other stuff, and then social proof. That's the last step that we always do. Is once you get somebody who's happy with you, ask them to say, okay, if you're happy, why are you happy with me? Are you okay for me now to post this on, my social media, my blog, whatever, and get you as a testimonial? So there's an actual process system again I have, because I don't care if you're at home and you're at home mom. You're still the CEO of your home business. Mm-hmm. System process in place. So everything you have to have a system process, because system run business, people run system.
So glad you said that again. Say it one more time.
Systems run business, people run systems, right? If you have people running business, you can't scale. You will never be able to leave your business. If you're sick, no one's going to do it for you. So you need to have that. And I think that's probably really important no matter what you do for a line of work. Most of us are on this podcast and listen to it, probably on the people business. You don't show up in an assembly line where your only part is, doing this part, right? I mean, in our industry, on an average, 48 people touches a real estate transaction. Mortgage, title, closer, appraiser, inspector, you name it, stager, photography, you name it. So you better be really good with people, okay? Learning EQ, emotional intelligence, learning how people work, learning NLP, learning, to read people. I mean, there's so many things that we're not spending time to improve ourselves to be better at what we do.
Well, I'm just laughing because with my coaching clients, we always talk about this idea of having systems, having a plan, right? Mm-hmm. And that as a lot of folks in our industry, I think are probably wired like me, which is where it's like, I don't need structure. Structure is suffocating. Systems are suffocating. And so for about 7 years, I thought I could just run my business organically on being the people person, right? Yeah. Like that's enough. But when you just said systems run business and people run the systems, if you don't have the system in place, you probably don't have a business. And I did not. I mean, it was a hot mess for a while there. And it's like, when I think about how long I went on without a business plan, without a system, without any structure, and like, listen, guys, if you're laughing because this is you and this resonates with you, I need to tell you, simple systems are liberating. Okay, a little bit of structure is liberating. It frees you up to have clarity and predictability.
Well, because at the end of the day, right, time is finite. We all have the same amount of time. I don't care you're billionaire or homeless. So you don't have system process in place. You're going to spend a lot of time being reactive and a lot of time, triaging and trying to put all these fires out. So you have system process in place. If that happened, boom, this is going to go in here, right? If this happened, this is the process system. And again, you have to start at home. So like for me, I got OCD pretty bad, but my system process is that when I get my dry clean, I would put them from the back to the front because I need to wear this other one first. I don't want to wear the same shirt over and over again, right? So I rotate them. Same with my dishwasher. My wife just shakes her head and walks away. I have a system for loading the dishwasher. I know I'm 25% more efficient and they clean better and I can fit more dishes in there because I go from the large to the small and I do the whole this way. Once you start living your life like that and in the business, you don't turn the switch on anymore, right? Because the way you did is pretty normal. Most of us, the first challenge in our industry is to have consistent income. They want to make a good enough money so we can make it as a living, right? And then we have to be more efficient. If I can do 20 deals, how can I do 40 deals and not work any harder because I don't have any more time? Mm-hmm. Without process and system, you cannot be efficient. This is why most people cap out at whatever they do because without system and process, you don't have any more time to do anything.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it's funny because when I meet someone who inherently loves systems like you, I have so much admiration. And, it's kind of like what you talked about earlier, though, with the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with, is that if you seek out people that are excellent at something that you need to be better at, then you can inherently start to adopt those practices without even realizing it. You become more appreciative of certain skills or natural tendencies that you might not possess, and the next thing you know, you're working on becoming a better version of yourself.
But now here's the thing: even if like you then just hire or surround your team with people who understand process system to do it for you. A lot of times you don't have to do it. Like if you're not that person, you're gonna pull your hair out, you're gonna hate it, right? But it's important, so maybe surround yourself with somebody who can do that for you.
Oh, yes. And thank God I have done so because now things get done with consistency that used to be like a pipe dream, But that's the interesting thing too, is that when you know that you're not naturally wired for, loving to putting the systems together, et cetera, and you hire somebody who does like to be the executioner of your ideas and you're a big ideas person, the problem with being a big ideas person, if you're not disciplined and you don't have systems, is that you're filled with amazing ideas and nothing's getting done.
That's right.
Or there's like 20% consistency. And if you hire somebody to do it and you think, well, they might not do it as good as me, but if they do it with 100% consistency, even if it's not as good as you think you're going to do it, you're going to get results because it's getting done.
So one of the book you asked, right? Rocket Fuel is a great book. You have not read it now because I don't like to read, right? I'm cheating lately. So there's summary, you can go get it now. Cliff Note, you can read a book pretty fast. But one thing in Rocket Fuel is set exactly that concept you talk about. You got the visionary and the integrator. Okay, most of us are probably visionary. We think of things, but we're not really good at implementing. So the example they use is Ford, McDonald's, Disney. All of those people are visionary, and the only reason these companies become massively successful because they brought on the integrator. So as a business owner, you need to know who you are, which is why I talk about the first step. You got to know who you are so you can align yourself with whoever, right? To attract them. If you're the visionary, find an integrator. You're an integrator, find a visionary. That's how you take your business to the next level.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that so many of us, we get paralyzed by the fear of letting go of responsibility of tasks that are draining us and depleting us. And so we, instead of like letting them go and letting somebody else do it not as good as we think we should or we could, then it doesn't get done at all, which means nothing, no needles being moved, right? But the other interesting thing is that the byproduct of releasing responsibility of certain activities that you're not naturally good at actually brings you a surge of energy. Mm-hmm. And then you're more creative and now you have new ideas and now you're getting more done and you're able to impact a larger subset of the community because you have such great ideas. Now somebody else can make that happen for you. So absolutely. Do you have a philosophy on whether there's like a certain amount of volume someone should be doing before they bring on a part-time assistant or a full-time assistant? Or do you think that it should be part of your plan from day one? When you're getting into real estate, you should start thinking like a CEO and that you're going to need to.
Absolutely. So if you can, we'd rather day one, right? Because first of all, you have to sit down and talk about your vision. So the vision between the difference between the vision and the mission statement is vision somewhere you want to be 3 to 5 years from now. You're not there yet. And the mission statement is what you need to do and your principle to get there. So if your vision is whatever it is different for everybody, you reverse engineer it back. So what I'm saying by that is it's different for everybody. Some of the agents are like, they want balance, right? They like to work out too. Maybe they have kids and want to spend more time. So to them, dude, 8 transactions a year is good. That's their vision. That's what they want to get to. They're 0 right now. Well, somebody said, I want to do 30 a year because I want to replace my job now and do this full time. So the answer is different for everybody, but the process is the same. You need to have your vision 3-5 years from now and reverse engineer back so that you know the things you need to do to get back there.
Awesome. I love that. Okay. So one last question, because I don't want to take too much of your time here, but what would you say is the most prevalent piece of advice that you find yourself giving in the current real estate market most frequently?
Yep. Control what you can't control. Right. That's important. The other thing that I say all the time is don't believe everything you read, hear, or see. Okay. Because that reflection piece, the third one, okay, after you experienced it and after you imitate it, see it off TV or whatever, read somewhere, go through critical thinking. Does that make sense with everything I've experienced in my life and have heard and have seen? And then make sure you put the pieces together. Because I believe there's three stories to every, they always say two sides every story. I believe there's three sides every story. The his, the hers, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. And it's our challenge to learn critical thinking so that we can make better decisions based on the information we have and then put everything together. So control what you can't control. The other thing too is find someone you really trust in your life. And it could be different people, right? One could be your business person. One could be your health person. One could be your, a parenting. Find somebody you really trust, the 5 people I told you about, and bounce idea off them and run off them. Because right now, it's so important for you to have someone go, hey, what's happening? And I don't feel good about it. Or I'm thinking this. What do you think? So, it's good to have someone you can trust to go to. That's important.
Awesome. I love it. Last thing is, how can folks find you, follow you if they want to learn from you? What's the best way to reach you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, just Google my name, actually, Long Doan. There's, I think, most of the first 2 pages have me on there. There's one other person, the same name, better believe it or not, a sociology professor somewhere in Maryland. So he's on that first page with me. But I responded to many IM messages asking for a quick call, 30 minutes here or there. I love giving it back and paying it forward because remember, I shouldn't be here talking to you guys. So I'm very appreciative, and I believe that once you have something that's more than yourself, that the reason why you want to live is to help others around you. That's how I feel. So if you allow me to be part of your journey, it's an honor for me, and I would love to help out any way I can.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I appreciate you so much, Long. And you guys, Long is all heart and authenticity, which is why I begged him to come back on the show because we're approaching our 100th episode. And Long's message in episode number 59 was absolutely one of my favorites and left me inspired personally. And I know it inspired so many others. So just really appreciate you, Long. And I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And I hope this finds you well and healthy and happy. And as always, hop over to the website, pursuingfreedom.com, to find more podcast episodes and free resources to help you on your journey towards building a life you don't need a vacation from. I love and appreciate you. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.